All right, well, let's change it up a little bit and let's talk about the DOL rule that
Yes,
is going on. And this is going
yes,
to affect all gig workers, no matter where you are in the
everybody,
gig sphere in the US. This
everybody.
is a DOL, Department of Labor. If you are not familiar with this, and this is your first time hearing about it, essentially it is a way to take independent contractors like Uber drivers and Doordash dashers and everybody in the gig economy and pretty much try to make them employees of these companies instead of independent contractors or the way it's been.
Yeah,
So they're looking at AB5 like legislation, similar, very, very, very similar to that,
very similar. Yeah,
which will codify how a worker is represented, whether they are an employee or not. And of course, this is something that is ongoing. So they had the public comment period that closed a couple of weeks ago, about a month and a half ago or something like that now. And actually I think it was mid-December.
yeah,
So it's actually 2 weeks now or 2 months now. But either way, the update is that
yeah.
Sergio.
Well, I'm telling you something. Something happened that I did not expect it to happen, which was, we talked about this like about a month ago. In fact, I spoke to the author of this article that came out, a couple of days ago, a week ago. Levi, I spoke to this morning into different things, but so Marty Walsh, who was the Secretary of Labor with the Biden administration, right? He's a pro-union as it could be. He's supportive of the PRO Act, which stands for, basically everybody unionizing, okay? And basically, I mean, he's as as union friendly and as employment rights for everybody kind of a guy as it could be. Well, guess what? The NHL knocked on his door and said, Mr. Walsh, we would like you to be the NHL Players Association representative, union head. And we're going to pay you 20 times your salary that you're making now. So he went from a $200,000 job to a $3 million job. And he said, I take it. And he left the
Show me that
Department of
money.
Labor. How do you like them apples? He left the Department of Labor for greener pastures. So
Wouldn't
now,
you?
hell yeah.
I would too.
So for all the NHL fans in the audience, this is bad news. This guy is as brutal as it gets. I mean, there's going to be definitely a strike this year, asking the owners, "Hey, man, we're not making enough money. We're banging ourselves into the boards, and these guys need to make NFL kind of money now. So watch out for the lockout." But anyway,
Mhm.
so the second that happened, right? They put in his place the time of AB5 passing, a lady named Julie Sue, who was huge, supporter of AB5. So that's his replacement, but she's not sworn in. She's just kind of an interim, kind of a Department of Labor secretary. So there's a lot of, wishy-washy stuff going on, a lot of transition of leadership or whatever. Well, immediately, of course, Uber and Lyft, DoorDash, because they have a group that they built called Flex. That group is basically for everybody to stay independent contractors and give everybody, minimum wage protection a little bit here and there. Something very similar to Prop 22 in California, which is a disaster in its own. So now they immediately went to court and they said, well, since there is no more Department of Labor secretary, we want to delay because guess what, people? Next 2 months, we're going to be busy. We're all going to be either wearing Uber shirts and Lyft hats and whatever. We're going to be employees of these companies, or the Department of Labor basically, after Marty Walsh left, now is in limbo. And of course, these companies see the opening and they just said, hey, there is no leadership. We don't know what's going on. We don't want any uncertainty, and they said we need a delay on this ruling that's going to come out within the next month and a half or so from the Department of Labor, which will classify all of you as employees of DoorDash, Lyft, Uber, Instacart, whatever you guys do, okay, as gig workers. I don't know. I mean, that's not my opinion. I know a lot of people want to stay independent contractors. I know that by a vast majority, 70, 80% probably, right? Okay. On the other hand, we'll have more rulings coming out in California on Prop 22 next month and a half. So we'll have a lot of stuff happening next month and a half. Please stay tuned because we're going to inform you. We're going to tell you the way it is. I think this is expected from these companies to say there's no leadership. We're going to delay. And, the Flex is basically the lobbying group for these companies. They say everybody should stay independent. The department should not finalize its worker classification proposal without a permanent Secretary of Labor. Well, she's coming. Her name is Julie Sue. Watch out. She's as bad as Marty Walsh, who has been nominated by the president and confirmed by the United States Senate. Kristen Sharp, who is the head executive of Flex, which is the lobbying group. And I put this on the side. Now, the Biden administration, which I thought actually from the get-go would push this immediately. It took them 2 years to do this. There's something called the PRO Act that they want to pass. It's called Protecting the Right to Organize, PRO, which is the Protecting Right Organize Act. The Protecting the Right to Organize Act, or the PRO Act, is proposed United States law that would amend previous labor laws, such as NLRB, right, for the purpose of expanding various labor protections related to employee rights to organize and collectively bargain in the workplace. Basically, everybody should be in a union. That's what the PRO Act is, okay? Now, I know what's been going on with unions. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. Everybody have their own opinion. This is not a political show. But now that Marty Walsh, which was the biggest proponent of the PRO Act, is gone, so maybe there's going to be a respite, and then, we're all going to stay independent contractors. There you go.
Well, I think that was just a smart decision. First off, if you're going to have a massive change for millions of people who are in the gig economy for the flexibility that you claim, some can argue that you don't have the freedom and flexibility, that is more of an illusion. But either way, you can still sign on and off when you want, when it's convenient for you. And you can still go out there and make money on your own terms. Obviously, you can make more playing the game. And also, if you know the rules, you are able to bend them into your favor. And that's kind of what we tried to help bring here. But with that being said, if you're going to come out with a rule that could potentially reclassify millions of people who want to most continue as is, and have a clear defining saying that on multiple polls, every poll we've done, every poll I've seen, it always says that they want to remain independent contractors. They do not want to become employees. That's and true. It could be part fear of the unknown type stuff. Either way, it doesn't. Look, for me, it doesn't make sense. For you, it doesn't make sense. For many people, it doesn't make sense. So, having somebody who is actually in there, who's appointed and going to have an impact that will impact millions of people in the gig economy, and not just in the gig economy, but in contractors as a whole.
This is much bigger than the gig economy. By the way, a lot of people, think gig economy is huge in this. It is in its own. It is 1 in every 6 American is somehow involved in some sort of gig work. Okay. But, the other day I was talking to somebody who's very smart when it comes to these issues, IC versus employees and things like that. And he said there's over 600 professions that are freelancers, that are independent contractors in this country. 600. I couldn't come up with 6 other than an electrician and a plumber and an air conditioning guy. But, so this actually is more affecting them a lot more than gig workers. And he said something that I researched, and it's true. Only 9% of all independent contractors in this country, small business owner, independent contractors, freelancers, self-employed people, out of all that, only 9% are gig workers. The rest are the people who are going to be suffering massively if this ruling comes down the line, right? Because we're a gig channel, right? Gig economy channel. We talk about, obviously, mostly rideshare delivery and things like that. But there is a huge population out there, millions and millions, 40, 50 million people who are self-employed freelancers. And that's going to hurt them a lot more, like truckers and things like that, which has hurt already. So to me, the important ruling obviously is for gig workers, but also for the rest of the freelancers that are out there. So
yeah, so it's definitely going to be a big thing. So yeah, I agree with these companies there, where they should hold off on any type of decision until after the fact. just so it's a little bit more formal. Because if you have somebody coming in who's like just the interim, you shouldn't be facing a decision that can truly impact millions upon millions of people. And especially for people who don't necessarily want the change, especially for professions that have been set up and, been this way for decades and beyond to that.
The ramifications of, I'm telling you, the ramification of this is massive for the country, for the economy, the number is close to 60 million people that are self-employed, small business owners, independent contractors, freelancers, whatever you want to call them. It could be massive. And the lady that they chose to replace Marty Walsh, he was basically the one that pushed AB5 through in California. So I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen now. It's like, I don't know. So hopefully everybody's heads stay calm. One thing I can assure everybody watching this now or later, even if the Department of Labor ruling comes, Doordash, Uber, Lyft, Instacart, which is not public yet, but they're going to spend tons of money fighting this all the way up to the Supreme Court. So, which will take at least 3 years, right? And then by then, there may be an administration who may be friendly to independent contractors. So you don't know. But at the moment, that's the news. And it's important news. And next month and a half, stay tuned. There is a lot of stuff coming out when it comes to the subject, okay?
Oh, yeah. And then not only that, you said Prop 22, but on top of that, there's other areas and states and local municipalities that are looking at, different things that they're doing for driver protections. They're looking at unjust deactivations and protecting drivers there. They're looking at pay transparency. They're looking at, many different things when it comes to it, but they're still keeping drivers as is. They're just putting in certain regulations. And I think that's going to help fill in the gaps a lot better than, something where this huge rule could just wipe out.
It's going to be an interesting couple of months coming up. So that's about it.
All right. Thanks for watching. That short little clip was from our live stream, Show Me the Money Club with Sergio and myself, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you subscribe, turn on all notifications so you'll be notified when we go live, as well as all of our awesome content. Make sure to check out this video right here, which will take you to the entire live stream, or check out this video right there. All right, drive smart, everyone.